But good morning to you. Welcome in if you don't know me yet. My name is Dallas Gordon, ecomcashqueen.com, your e-commerce business coach and marketing success strategist. Beautiful morning to you. Welcome in, welcome in. As you guys are coming in live, please definitely greet me and say hello to me. If you're getting the 24-hour replay, also drop me a comment or any questions below, and I will be sure to jump on later and answer any questions or comments that you may have. Today we're talking about 3 ways, or I may give you more, to prevent online store fraud. I'm definitely also inviting you to join in on the 5-day jumpstart, which is the upcoming Instagram free boot camp. It's going to be for 5 days. We're going to be covering the foundation for drop shipping online, guys. So if you're interested in learning how to drop ship, you can join in on that boot camp and get a lot of your questions answered so that you can make a decision after that 5 days where you kind of like want to get started. So I invite you guys to sign up. I pinned the link below, bit.ly/5-day jump. 3 ways to prevent online fraud is what we're talking about today. So before I get started, guys, I want to let a lot of you know how you can connect with me. Of course, on Instagram at ecomcashqueen. In my bio, I have what I do, as well as lots of links where you can get my freebies, you can get my training, you can sign up with me. I'm on YouTube, loads of videos out there. I have a whole training library if you're interested in coaching or training. I also have a free Facebook group. It's called the Ecom Profit Tribe. A quick way into that group is bit.ly/ecomcash, ECOMM cash. So, or you can always visit ecomcashqueen.com if you want to connect with me anyway. Mostly everything is there for us to connect. So thank you so much for coming in this morning, and I'm going to get started. So as you know, getting frauded online is no fun. It's just no fun at all. What I don't want for it to happen, guys, is I don't want for the possibility of your getting frauded to stop you from selling online. Please don't let that be your reason why you don't get into something or you don't get into a business out of fear that something like that is going to happen. Because any business that you get in, there is a risk that you take anytime that you get online, or anytime that you use your credit card offline. Anytime that you open a bank account, guys, it's a chance that something like negative, like fraud, could happen. Well, I'm here today, guys, to give you some tips, just some tips to help you to avoid the fraud. Now, it could happen to you. It could never happen to you. But I just want to kind of talk to you about my experience with it. And I want to give you some tips with how you can avoid it. Now, I've been selling online, guys, for probably about 9 years, maybe going on 10 years now, guys. And I really have not had a lot of experiences with this kind of fraud. So just to let you know, I've been selling online all this time, and I have hardly ever, maybe on 1 occasion or 2 occasions, hey Tammy, welcome in, have I ever even experienced, guys, this type of fraud. I've never, ever run into it except for maybe once or twice. So that goes to show you guys that I don't want you to be afraid of this happening to you. This hasn't happened to me very many times. I don't want you to worry about it. I just want you to be educated about it. That way you can take the necessary steps to protect yourself and your business from having to go through this thing, okay? So first, before I tell you about my own personal experience, let me tell you some different ways that fraud could happen. So as you know, someone could get inside of your online store if they possibly get your password, and they could swipe information that way. A lot of the times these sites are very, very secure. That's one way that someone could fraud you. Some people get into like return fraud. Thanks for that love, Tammy. And they try to return items outside of your return policy, or they want to abuse the return policy, making, like for instance, they will return items over and over again to get their money back. So some people abuse returns. So they will buy something knowing in advance that they're only going to return it. They'll use it and return it. Then they'll shop at your store again, and they'll do the same thing again. That's another way that someone can fraud you. I know that there are ways that people fraud you with PayPal transactions. okay, where people may buy stuff, they may use like an e-check and they may never really pay you, or they may buy it and they may tell PayPal that they never received the item and PayPal will give them their money back. So people get people get very tricky, or people use other people's credit cards to purchase items, okay, and then when the actual person finds out, they do a chargeback with their bank. And that's kind of the experience that I've had that I want to share with you guys today. Now, fraud is never fun. It ain't fun. Let me tell you, it's not fun, because us as business owners, no matter what you sell, you're doing the right thing by your customer, right? When you receive an order or you receive a payment for a service, we're good people, right? So we want to what? We want to provide that service to our customer. We don't want to rip our customer off. We want to provide that service. So I received an order in my store from out of the country, because my store is international and I sell things to everybody across the world. But what I will say is that the only difference is that for anyone who's out of the country, outside of the United States, that is, I will charge higher shipping for them, and that's free shipping for people within the U.S., and that's because it costs me more, or it costs my manufacturers or distributors more to ship outside of the United States. So to cover that cost, I have shipping costs. But other than that, everyone who comes into my store, into my business and shops, is treated the same. So I'm not going to assume because someone is shopping from me outside of the United States that automatically means fraud for me. I'm not going to assume that. There are people all over the world that don't mean you any harm, that come to shop. Their money is green. Exactly. And expats in Spain is saying it's normal. It happens. Okay. So I don't want for you to be afraid of selling internationally for fear of fraud. Let me just tell you that people within the United States are big time frauders as well. So please don't limit your business and be afraid to expand your business worldwide because you fear fraud from happening. It can happen. You already know it happens all over the world, okay? So someone came into my store. They made a very, very huge purchase. They were located outside of the country. I did not think twice about filling the order. I filled the order. I had it shipped to that customer. I moved on. Well, some weeks later, I get a message from Shopify, and this fraud happened in my Shopify store. And they say, we have received a chargeback from a bank from this purchase. The customer is saying that they did not purchase this item. So basically, we're going to come for you for the cost of the items as well as a $15 fee. Okay, because the bank had to reimburse the customer, and they're coming to take their money back. And within, I think it's like something ridiculous, like at the end of September, Shopify is going to submit evidence on my behalf about the fraud to let them know that this wasn't fraud, that I actually received this order in my store. It doesn't mean it's not fraud though, because if someone used someone else's credit card to make that purchase, the bank may still find that I'm liable for it. So that is kind of like what it looks like. So basically, the chargeback was attached to my funds. My funds were taken. Over $300 was taken from me. And I'm not crying about it because it is the nature of the business. I'm not happy about it, but I just have to trust that when Shopify submits evidence on my behalf, that all will work out in my favor, right? So that is not fun, guys. I'm not happy about the fact that I am an up and up business owner and I was frauded because someone else decided to use someone else's credit card. My bank account has to suffer for it. So let's get to it, guys. That's why I came by today, because I want to talk to you about the tips. And a quick reset, please check out the pinned comment. I definitely want you guys to jump into the 5-day jump. Make sure that you've signed up for the free Instagram 5-day boot camp that will be coming up very soon. I'm trying to get past all of this traveling from the summer. We're kind of dying down before I commit to a 5-day, but it's coming up very shortly. So be sure to grab your spot and welcome in. Be sure to greet me below so I know that you're here. And if you have any questions, post them below. I would love to answer them later on. So how often does that fraud happen in a month? Hey, hello, life changer. Welcome in. Is that Paula? So the fraud doesn't happen. Like I said, I have actually been selling online for almost 10 years now, and it's only happened to me about 2 times. Welcome in, Sensational Style Boutique. Thank you so much for joining in. So you guys came in at the right time. I talked about my experience with fraud online. I talked about the different types of fraud that you can experience. I probably didn't cover all of them because it's lots of different kinds. Now I want to talk to you guys about how to avoid the fraud. I said I was going to give you 3, but I'm just going to kind of ramble through them. It may be more than 3. I'm just going to talk to you this morning. So number 1, guys, make sure that you have some sort of a fraud detection or fraud protection on your website. For me, when I did get the fraud, I was on a Shopify store. Shopify already, oh, thank you so much, right, 10 years strong. The good thing about Shopify, guys, is Shopify does have a, you know what, Paula, I really do wish that we could share the broadcast here. The best way to share the broadcast is to screenshot this and to say, check out at Ecom Cash Queen, the replay. It was awesome, you know, and share my picture and share, you know, my Instagram account and say it will be up for 24 hours because I'm sure Facebook is working on it, but there is no way, I don't think, to share this on Instagram. I hope that's coming, guys. I hope that's in the cards. But one way is that with Shopify, guys, if you do have a Shopify store, and I know WordPress has like plugins and things like that, I think that where they can detect fraud, and different sites have different things, whether it's an app, whether it's a plugin, or whether or not the service automatically detect the fraud. So I know with Shopify, they automatically will detect the fraud. So when you get, thank you, love, when you get an order, okay, what's going to happen, guys, is that Shopify is going to kind of like rate the sale, okay, to see what's the probability of this sale being fraud. So you're going to, you know, see like it comes up in red or it comes up in different colors, and they're going to tell you why they believe that the sale is a fraud. Now, your part is when you get that alert, you have to listen. You want to do your due diligence to reach out to the customer, to do whatever they suggest to make sure, guys, that you avoid this fraud. So let me give you an example. These are some different reasons why. Good morning, Tasha. Welcome in, love. Thank you so much for joining in. These are some different reasons why, guys, that Shopify would flag that sale as fraud. So, number 1, if someone's billing address doesn't match the shipping address, that automatically is a red flag for Shopify. And it should be a red flag for you. So, I know that especially as a drop shipper, we often ship items with different billing address from shipping address because we're paying for it, but we're shipping the item out to our customer under a different address, right? So it's very common. So it's not the worst case, but you still want to pay attention to the red flag. And a lot of times what Shopify suggests that we do is to reach out to the customer and to verify that this is not a fraudulent order and it's okay to move forward. Now, if this is someone who is trying to scam you or something, 9 times out of 10, the email may not even be real, but at least you did your due diligence to kind of reach out to the customer, and hopefully you will get a response. Now, I have processed loads of these orders with different billing address from shipping address, and it's very low possibility of fraud. It's very, very low. Thank you for that, love, Tasha. So I don't always that doesn't really alarm me because I know I'm a drop shipper and I do it all the time, and I've never been frauded from that. But I want you to pay attention from that, okay? Another thing that I want you guys to pay attention to, which I didn't for this order that I actually got frauded on, okay? And it's costing me a lot of money. If you go into your history, you can see kind of like what the customer's actions were. What steps did they take from the sale? You can see which IP address the order came from most of the time. You can see what platform the order came from most of the time. And you can also see how many times it took for them to pay, how many times their card was declined. If you see someone using multiple different card numbers, and you're only going to see the last 4 digits to get the order, I mean multiple cards. Like the order that I got frauded on, I didn't check. but this person used like 4 to 5 cards prior to the card that they use. So that possibly means this person has a variety of different card numbers that they have illegally swiped from somewhere, and they're basically just trying their hand at all of them to see like which one is going to work. And that's what that person did to me. And then the last one worked, and they just kind of went with that. So in this case, these hackers or these people, they have everything. They have the billing address that matches the credit card. So in this case, on this sale, the billing address and the shipping address did match. So they probably already had all that information. So just something to be aware of, okay? And that's another thing that you can kind of check for. The next time I kind of like see it that much, I just may just return the money and just refund and cancel the order. Okay, so your response to when you're not comfortable with fulfilling an order is simply to cancel the order, do not receive the money, and just do a refund and move on. Okay, and if the customer wants to know, you can say, I'm sorry, I couldn't process the order because my system flagged this order as fraud, as a fraudulent order, and we like to protect ourselves and we like to protect our customers, and I'm sorry, we couldn't process this order. Right? So those are a couple of different ways that you can kind of avoid the fraud. When it comes to like return fraud, guys, you guys can have a very, very strong return policy that that limits people from abusing it. One of the things you can do is assign a restocking fee and put that in your return policy that, you know, it is up to us and to our discretion, basically to say that we review returns on a case-by-case basis, and it's kind of like under or up to our discretion to decide whether or not we're going to assign a 20% or more restocking fee to the order. A lot of times when people see that, when they see that they're not going to get their full refund, or that they understand that it's a certain amount of days that they have to return, past those days they can't return, or certain items in your store that they can't return. If you put a lot of strict restrictions around returns, that can automatically limit people frauding you. And always be very careful with PayPal transactions, because unfortunately a lot of times fraud is very easy to happen in PayPal, and they won't back you a lot of times. They don't understand the nature of our business, and they will not back you, especially if you are a drop shipper and you are shipping goods from out of the country. Customer says they didn't get it. As far as PayPal is concerned, they didn't get it. So you lost almost from the beginning. So keep that in mind. So guys, I just wanted to talk to you about a few things. Always examine your orders. When you get an order into your store, I want for you to go through the background of that order. I want you to know where it came from. What's the IP address? How many times did they charge different cards to get that order? Did Shopify or did your fraud prevention application or whatever tell you that it's a red flag? Don't ignore the red flags, because if you are hit with fraud and you didn't pay attention to the red flags, guess whose fault that is? I don't want to have to say it, but it would be yours. Okay, so you want to be careful of that. So guys, thank you so much for coming in to Instagram Tuesdays. Today we talked about fraud. If you do want to share this out, just give me a shout out, guys, and say check out Ecom Cash Queen. Do a little screenshot. Somebody asked me how to share and say this training was awesome. You got to get over here on Tuesdays. Just to let you guys know, I'm doing a series called Shadow Me as I Shopify. We did 2 last week, okay? We did 2 last week, and we're going to be doing 2 more this week. We're doing 1 tomorrow night via Facebook, and 1 Thursday night via Facebook. You're welcome, Tammy. So if you have not followed me at Ecom Cash Queen on Facebook and join the Profit Tribe at Ecom Profit Tribe on Facebook, which is the group, you want to get in place so that you can get those trainings. And if you have not purchased your Shopify training yet, I will go ahead and put a link. The bundle has over probably 20 different trainings, mini trainings in it, as well as a Facebook ads training, guys. So you want to grab that bundle. It's the Shopify Setup Series. I will come back and post the link to that below, just in case you want to grab the bundle because all of the replays are going to be going inside of there. So love you guys. Have a very blessed and prosperous Tuesday. If I don't see you on Facebook or on my Instagram page or here or there, I will see you next Tuesday. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Okay, guys, thanks again. Bye.